Okay, so we're back live. What else joining us here? Okay, fantastic. Let's see. Oh, that's the wrong one. We want to get to here we go. Good deal. Okay, so let's continue on. We talked about the Fantastic Five, and we'll just go over our disclaimer again because we just went live on YouTube. It looks like Zoom got that fixed now, thank goodness. So the patches are not intended to treat, prevent, or cure any disease. We do not heal, cure, treat, or diagnose, nor do we offer any protocols. The suggestions do not replace the diagnosis and treatment by a qualified licensed healthcare professional. We strongly recommend you consult with your doctor concerning your specific health challenge and treatment needed. So no medical claims are being made with the suggestions here. This is intended for human use only. So that's not to say that people don't put these on their animals, because they do, with incredible effects. As you and I both know, our dogs, our cats, our horses, mammals don't have belief systems. The only mammal that has a belief system are human beings. That being said, it's interesting to note that this works on all mammals. And earlier today, at just 2 hours before we went live here on Zoom and on YouTube, Dr. Stacy and Dr. Dawn actually went through showing brain scans of people who are on the patches, and you can see how minutes after you put the patches on, there's an immediate effect on the brain, also witnessed by EKG through blood tests and so forth. So we have a 4-part series that's every Tuesday at 5 p.m. It's just for the next 4 weeks. Tonight was the first one. If you're interested in watching that, you can go to Dr. Stacy Hallweger's YouTube channel. And on her YouTube channel, you'll see that tonight, that's already up live on her YouTube channel. It was an hour long, and it was phenomenal, showing all the evidence of the effects of before and after you patch someone, whether they feel something or not. So for those people who say, oh, I tried it for 30 days and it didn't work for me, they simply didn't give it enough time. They quit on themselves. You really need to be on the patches. Again, we always recommend 12 months. Why? Because your body is normally, without the patches, your body is on a 7-year cycle to replace and restore all 56 trillion cells that you have in your body. So that in your body, as you're watching this video right now, the youngest cells in your body are milliseconds old. The oldest cells in your body are 7 years old. None of the 56 trillion cells that are running through your body right now existed 8 to 10 to 15 years ago. So your body turns over all of the organs, bones, tissues, everything over a 7-year period. However, when you are on these photobiomodulation patches, everything is expedited, because instead of having 30, 20, 10% of your stem cells left, and as you're going to see here from this presentation, you're going to have a third, 33% more regenerative cells that are working in your favor. Okay. So this is all based on the work of Lauren Picard, which we talked about briefly a little bit ago. In 1973, Lauren Picard, who won a Nobel Prize for this work, he discovered that GHKCU copper peptide, in fact, activates, it turns on a third of your previously dormant stem cells, turning genes to a younger, healthier state. So separate from that, we have 90 clinical studies that were done in the US, Europe, and in Asia. And all 90 of those studies that are on our patches show the activation of GHKCU copper peptide in some patches, AHKCU copper peptide in other patches, as well as the different effects that we're showing you here on the bullet points here tonight. The thing to note is stem cells are pluripotent cells. So I oftentimes refer to these as pluripotent cells, regenerative cells, which is what they actually truly are. And the thing to note about a pluripotent cell is pluri means plural, potent, potential. So it means a many potential as opposed to a singular potential. If it was a singular potential, that means that one cell, that pluripotent or a singular potent cell, would only be able to reproduce. If it was an eye cell, it could only reproduce an eye cell. But when you're born, your mother's ovum, well, before we jump to that, since we've got the graphic up right now, the fact that we have pluripotent cells at the time of conception means that 100% of those pluripotent cells have all the programming to make you head to toe. So each one of those pluripotent cells can form, if you need a cardiac cell, a stomach cell, an enterocyte cell, fat cell, red blood cell, epithelial skin cell, a nerve cell, whatever it is that you need, it has 100% of the programming. The thing to note is when you were conceived in your mother's womb, you actually had your mother's ovum that united with your father's sperm. And at conception, with the ovum and the sperm united, at conception, you now have 23,688 genes, which had 23,688 pluripotent regenerative cells to form you in your mother's womb. And now with that complete information, you now have all the programming to form you as a little embryo in your mother's womb, so that 6 to 8 weeks later, we can witness the little heartbeat of that embryo through an ultrasound or through a Doppler sonar sound device. And it's good to note that also, if you fast forward to 30 years of age, by the time you're 30, 50% of your pluripotent cells turn off, just as a function of age, not because they're damaged, not because they're destroyed, not because they disappear. They're still there. However, they go dormant. And by the time you're 60 years old, 90% turn off. So now you've had the remaining 10% that you've had since conception all the way to 60. And then from 60 plus, you have 10% of your remaining pluripotent cells that are going to carry you for the remainder of your life until you apply one of these patches. And when you apply one of these patches, automatically you'll have 33% more. So 10 plus 33 is 43. So you'll have 43. That's pretty close to what you had when you were 30 years of age. And that's why you have this rapid repair, regeneration, and restoration that takes place the moment you put the patch on. So let's talk about the human body and a little bit about equivalencies. You'll see here in this picture graph, I've got a woman and a man's body, and that's equivalent to your home, because your body really is your temporary housing unit that's going to house the personality, the energy, the light source, the soul that is you, okay? And if you look at the regenerative cells, the pluripotent cells themselves, those stem cells are like printer ink cartridges. And when you have a brand new ink cartridge, whether it's color or black, doesn't matter. You make a color or a black copy, and you can barely tell the copy from the original. However, when you've used up 70, 80, or 90% of the ink in any of those cartridges, now a color copy is a very faded version of the original. Big difference between the original and the copy. Same thing is true with a black and white copy. In fact, black and white copies sometimes look like very faint gray and white copies. And in some cases, they even look like pink and white copies instead of being any notion of gray or black. Does that make sense? Whoops. So the thing to know is, how do the patches work? That's a very common question we get from a lot of people. How do the patches work? I'm glad that you asked about how do the patches work, because our body, we don't think about it, but when you take your temperature, you are taking a read on how hot you are, right? And the average human body is about 98.6, 98.7 degrees Fahrenheit, correct? And that temperature of 98.7 degrees Fahrenheit, some of us run a little hotter, some of us run a little colder, but on average, 98.7 degrees Fahrenheit, that temperature taking is a measurement of the infrared light that's inside of your body. Because we are literally, not just metaphysically and spiritually, not just what the ancients of old have known for thousands of years, but scientifically, we know that your entire body is an actual light body. In fact, if I were to look at you through night vision goggles, with night vision goggles, I would be able to see you glowing in the dark. In fact, that's what the military, as well as the police departments in the US and Canada, they use night vision goggles to catch people at night. They can see them glowing in the dark. It could be pitch black and they could see them in the dark. And that is evidence of the infrared light that is not just contained inside your body, but it actually glows outside of your skin. That infrared light is the composition of, it's basically electricity. It's light. That's what electrons, the word electrons comes from the word electricity. Electrons, electrolytes. Electrolytes are simply electrons that are in your bloodstream. They're little packets of light information. Where do those come from? Well, believe it or not, part of it is your innate life force system, but also from the foods that you eat. Food is really just a light barcode for light, and it's a transference of light in your environment inside your body. Because when you eat a cow, a goat, a chicken, a fish, any kind of shellfish, those things are in your environment. When you eat asparagus, lettuce, green beans, etc., those were grown out in your environment. And now you ingest it through chewing, right? And as you chew, you break it down. And as you break it down, and you've got enzymes and things in your saliva that break it down so that as you swallow it, then your digestive system is going to break it down further so that then it can take what things are nutrition and it pulls electrolytes out from those food sources and it goes directly into your bloodstream coupled with oxygen. And now it goes through your bloodstream to your heart, to your brain, and through other parts of the body. That's kind of a very rudimentary, physiology of how that works. And the thing to note is that GHKCU copper peptide, which is in the mother stem cell activation patch, that would be this X39. This activates this P63 protein. We actually have clinical studies that show that the P63 protein, all the patches use some sort of peptide and protein that's activated as a result of the patches. And that's what the patches are doing. It's activating something inside of the body, and it's turning on the light switch. In this case, there's the frequency and the geometrical arrangement of crystals are setting the activation of certain things that I'm going to share with you here in just a moment. Okay. And these crystals, I want you to think about a diamond crystal. We're all familiar with diamond crystals because we've all seen diamond crystals. And if I were to take a flashlight and I were to shine it onto a diamond ring or a diamond crystal, as you can see here, the light's reflecting back. The light source is the flashlight, right? But the crystal is reflecting back all the different colors of the prism, right? Guess what? The crystals on these patches are doing the exact same thing. The moment this patch touches my skin, these are non-transdermal, so it's not putting anything into the skin. Non-transdermal simply means that nothing transfers into the dermis, into the skin. So we're not putting anything into the body. This is just a mechanical device to reflect back your infrared light. You're the battery. You are the energy source that makes this mechanical device useful. So now that infrared light bounces right back into your body up to 4 inches deep. And that, in the case of this particular patch, it gives a certain group of things that happen in your body, which I'm going to share with you some bullet points, which we can text to you if you'd like to have them. It's very handy to have it on your cell phone because it's too much information to remember. I have doctors all the time that I share this information with, and they're like, wow, between what all the different patches do and then all the acupuncture points and then all the systems, it's kind of a lot of information to take in. So nobody has the burden of having to learn or know all of this. Just know that. Know that you can always go back. You can look at bullet points. You can always rewatch this video. This is being broadcast live here on YouTube, so you can rewatch it again. I might add, you can go to the little gear on YouTube if I'm talking too fast. Sometimes people who have had, traumatic brain injuries or multiple traumatic brain injuries and in concussions or different type of neurological conditions, sometimes you have to listen to things slower. So when you hit the gear, you can go 0.75, 0.50, 0.25 slower. Or conversely, if you'd like to listen to this at 1.25 times faster, 1.5 times faster, 1.75 times faster, or double the speed, you have that as an option. I just want to make sure you guys all know that because that is available to you. Okay, so it's good to note that while phototherapy has been defined as the use of ultraviolet light for its healing effects, the LifeWave patches have been specifically developed to reflect light in the infrared and visible light bands back onto the skin where the patch has been placed, supported by normal electrodermal skin conductance. That's kind of a big word, electrodermal skin conductance. What is that? Electro has to do with electric. Dermal is skin, and conductance is the ability to travel through. So the human body gives off a number of materials biochemically, including particulate release. That means tiny little particles, gas emission, ultraviolet, infrared, near infrared, and visible spectrum light. So this then stimulates the area of the skin, producing improved physiological effects. Variations on phototherapy have been used for at least 100 years, and in that time, there's been very little evidence of any negative side effects. So this suggests that this is a relatively untapped option for healing with relatively few risks. So I want you to notice also that these are, I mentioned it before, they're non-transdermal patches, which is why these patches are allowed in surgery. I have people before surgery, during surgery, major surgery, and post-surgical, they're able to wear the patches because they're non-transdermal. They're non-invasive. There's nothing being transferred or going through the skin other than the person's own infrared light is bouncing off the patch and coming back in. Even the crystals that are organic sugar crystals, organic salt crystals, organic hydrogen, oxygen, water crystals, organic proprietary blends of amino acids and polyoisomers, none of those are being absorbed by your skin. They don't react with your skin. They're devised to be a mechanical device like that diamond crystal, just to simply reflect back your own infrared light. And they're set to a specific frequency so that each patch has a different effect. They are organic, they're holistic, they're FDA compliant Class 1 medical devices under the general wellness category. And we do manufacture our products, like I mentioned before, at FDA registered facilities in the US, in San Diego for the United States, and our facility in Ireland is registered with the Irish Medicine Board. So we do manufacture our products to the same standards as a medical device. In fact, our facility in Ireland is ISO 9001 and ISO 13485, and that's a quality standard. This is per David Schmidt, the scientist who actually invented these patches, who's actually the chairman of the board of our company. If you want to watch his video where he talks about this in greater detail, this product webinar, let me know, and I could always send this video to you. Just let me know if you're interested. And it's also good to know, there are things that I can say and there are things that I can't say. And recently the FDA, in the last, not very long, just in the last several months, the US Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has taken the position that all claims surrounding stem cells and healing, even those from natural products, will be regarded as a drug claim. So the FDA also asserts that claiming that the use of light to elevate peptides, such as GHKCU, is inappropriate for a general wellness product. So as a result, we can't say that any longer, although the clinical studies actually show that. So again, I just want you to know what we are allowed to say, what we aren't allowed to say, even though we have evidence in clinical studies, not just our 90 clinical studies, but we have, if you were to go to the NIH.gov site, or if you were to go to PubMed, if you were to do a Google Scholar research, you would see over 2,000 different research studies that clinically prove that the turning on of GHKCU copper peptide, and in fact, the activation of AHKCU copper peptide turns on a third of your previously dormant stem cells to a younger, healthier state. So, and that's pretty much the backbone of what these phototherapy patches, also known as photobiomodulation patches, do. So it's really important, part of the foundation of wellness, and you as a human being, in fact, not just human beings, but all mammals, it's very important to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. It's the backbone and the cornerstone of health, really, because a baby is about 82% water, and a 60-year-old is about 55% water. And if you look at your DNA, the DNA strand is 92% water. Think about that. So the primary structure that holds up all your DNA, and again, you start off with 23,688 genes at conception. And the primary structure that holds up your DNA is actually water. And I'm twisting my fingers like this because your DNA is a helix. It's like a ladder that turns. If you look here at the beginning of my presentation, I showed you this little guy climbing your DNA helix strand. So the primary thing that's holding that up is 92% water, 8% is other particulate matter. Pretty amazing if you think about it. Thing to note is your brain is also very hydrophilic. It's mostly water and fat, believe it or not. And so it's very important. When you become dehydrated, one of the first things that shrink is your brain. There's a lot of other things in your body that shrink too, but your brain shrinks, your mitochondria, your cells shrink, and you start to have a dysregulation of the mitochondria as a result of dehydration. When you're 2% dehydrated, you start to feel thirsty, like you feel parched or you feel thirst in your mouth. At 8% dehydration, your DNA, this should be very disturbing for those of you who've never heard this before. At 8%, your DNA starts to unravel. At 10%, you lose your mind. And at 12%, your whole body shuts down, you're dead. Nobody can survive that. So it's important. I don't know if you knew, but your DNA, which is 92% water, is an energy amplifier. So that's kind of the cornerstone of who you are and how your body is going to function. And that's why it's so important for you to drink water. So there are going to be 2 more times in this presentation that I'm going to remind you to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. If you weigh 100 pounds, you're going to drink 50 ounces of water. 150 pounds, 75 ounces of water. 200 pounds, 100 ounces of water. If you weigh 300 pounds, 100, whatever your weight is, divide it by 2. And that's the number of ounces of water that you need to drink from the time you wake up in the morning. And you have to finish that by the time you go to sleep. I suggest that you drink it throughout the course of the day, every few hours, so that you keep your body hydrated throughout the day. Because when you're sleeping, you're going to be fasting from hydrating, not just eating. And so it's important to keep that as steady as possible. Okay. So did you, let's see. So the patches, that brings me to the point of how often, how long are you supposed to wear the patches? So the patches are to be worn for 12 hours on, then 12 hours off. So what does that look like? So you can be wearing the patches from, let's say, 9 a.m. in the morning till 9 p.m. at night. So let's think about how the planet Earth, because we are connected to the planet, whether we acknowledge it or not, doesn't matter. It just is. The planet, as you know, we have daylight. You have sunrise to sunset. That's about 12 hours. And then you have sunset, right? Sunset to sunrise. So you have 12 hours of light, and then you have 12 hours of night. Our bodies are tied to that circadian rhythm, and we are on for about 12 hours, probably a little longer than that. But then you also have the time that you are off, just like the Earth has darkness for 12 hours. Then you have your rest, repair, and restore cycle. It's good to note that we have a circadian rhythm. It's not just tied to our melatonin and serotonin, because melatonin puts you to sleep and serotonin gets you up in the morning. But all the organ systems of the body have their own circadian rhythm, and that is actually set by your eye, which is not just used for you to use as a camera to see and to take pictures and video, if you will. But it's also the circadian rhythm clock that sets the timing by your seeing the sunlight from sunrise to sunset. It sets a biochemical, neurophysiological cadence, if you will. It's like a domino effect. And it sets the different timings, the circadian rhythms of the different organ systems of your body. Very, very important. Okay. Let's talk about Dr. John. Dr. John Harmon. He came to us 2 years ago, very dismayed because he had been diagnosed by a right bundle branch blockage. And Dr. John was very dismayed because he had 3 cardiologists that confirmed this diagnosis, and there is no surgery that can be done for a right bundle branch blockage. He had been told by all 3 of them that the longevity of his lifespan was compromised because of this, and that he would be on heart meds for the remainder of his life. facing only things getting worse, not getting better over the course of the balance of his life. This, of course, was completely unacceptable to him. Being a brain specialist himself, he said, there's got to be something out there that can fix this. I don't know what, I don't know where, I don't know how, but I got to find something out there. There's got to be something out there that can help me in an organic, holistic manner. And then the patches came into his experience. And it was 14 months later when it was confirmed by 3 of his cardiologists. They confirmed that, lo and behold, the right bundle branch blockage disappeared. It no longer was present in his body. And he got the both and benefit, because your pluripotent cells, they regenerate. They don't care what you look like. They just, the only reason why you have gray hair is oxidative stress. There's damage in the body. The only reason why you have fine lines and wrinkles, again, it's oxidative stress. The only reason why you have inflammation in the body is because you have damaged cells. Wherever there's inflammation, there are damaged cells. And so as he wore these patches, not only did the right bundle branch blockage get repaired, but guess what? He had this regenerative process take place where his original hair color, as the oxidative stress reduced, the damaged cells got replaced with new cells. Guess what? His original hair color came back. Not 100%, but a significant amount, as you can see here. And if you look at the most recent videos that Dr. Stacy has done, interviewing Dr. John Harmon and Susan Allen, who's also interviewed him, you'll see he's got regular brown hair and just a little bit of gray on the sides. You'll also see that the lines and wrinkles that he had on his forehead, again, I always very playfully and kindly tease that I could have played tic-tac-toe on his forehead before, because he had lines that went across the forehead horizontally as well as vertically. He had more than 11. He had like 111 on his forehead. He doesn't have that anymore. And I actually know him in person, not just virtually, right? You could also see that the inflammation that he had a lot of inflammation that was present. You could see in his eyes. I actually have a clinical certification for traditional Chinese medicine to do facial medical diagnosis. And from his eyes, I can see, wow, he had a significant amount of inflammation. You can see that his eyebrows were thinning and very little brown in his eyebrows there. And those came back thicker, darker. Inflammation here is gone. And the line at his chin, cheeks, forehead, between right here at his nose bridge, you can see how there's a significant improvement. Okay. It's very exciting to see, wouldn't you agree? So, oh, by the way, it's good to note, when you are a tender little youngling of just 25 years of age, your production of fibroblasts begin to decline. Now, I've had 22-year-olds, 25-year-olds. I've had the youngest, I think, is 4 years old that I've had that we've put the patches on. But fibroblasts begin to decline when you're just barely 25 years old. And fibroblasts are one of the key components for the production of collagen, which is the #1 building block protein of the body. And I think back when I was 25, oh my gosh, I was barely getting used to being in an adult body, and I was basically still a little girl. And to think that already your fibroblasts are beginning to decline at 25 is no wonder that at age 30, you have 50% of your original pluripotent cells just going dormant until you apply one of these activation patches. And now you've turned back on a third of your previously dormant ones. So here we have Barry. This is the first person I patched and got started on the patches a year ago, June 23rd, 2022. Barry is a friend of mine, and he had suffered long and hard with horrible insomnia. He had long haulers. Nothing he tried worked for his insomnia. He would wake up every single morning with headaches, nausea, low stamina, fatigue. He was just in bad shape. And then we got him started on the patches on the 23rd. He received his patches that afternoon on the 23rd and called me right up. And that evening, we started him on the patches. We didn't want to wait till the next morning. We do recommend that you start the patches in the morning because they're intended to be day patches. However, he really, really was in desperate need of good quality sleep. So I said, let's get you started today. We need to get this headache, this nausea, the pain points that you're having in your body, and we need to give you some deep, sound sleep. I have yet to have anyone not report that they have deep sound sleep after wearing the patch. So we got them started on the patches that same evening. And I said, let me know how you're doing in 24 hours. I want to see how you're coming along. And then we'll kind of take things from there. So he sent me this text the very next afternoon. And it says here, hey, Lillian, just a note, don't know if it's a placebo or the patches work that quick or what, but I had really good sleep, a little better sleep than other nights. I fell asleep quicker. And today I'm just on a high. I'm ecstatic. And Gwen sees that in me. And I feel really, really good physically when I awoke this morning. No headache, no nausea. The first time in 18 months. Can you imagine waking up every day with a headache, with nausea, with no low stamina, complete fatigue, and having being sleep deprived for a year and a half? Well, he said, yeah, it's just been a phenomenal day. So thank you. And I'll update you as we go along. Hope all is well. Bye. So that was my first person with long haulers. Since then, I should have kept count, but I have patched more people than I can. It's been many, many people that I've patched who tested positive for the big COVID, and many people who have been struggling for 1 or 2 or 3 years with long haulers. And every single one of those people have had a relief and feeling better and got better sleep, and their symptoms lifted within 24 hours. And the fastest person I had their symptoms lift was Al, who just 2 hours and 18 minutes after applying the patches. We know that because he applied the patches at 8 p.m. And you can look for that video. It's a 10-minute video. You'll see Al. He looks like a military man because he's now retired from the military. He's got short hair, and it's about it was 2 hours and 18 minutes. He put the patches on, drank. I had given him 2 bottles of water. He drank the first bottle of water, put the patches on, put the second bottle, drank a second bottle of water at 9 o'clock. And then at 10:18, he calls me and he's like, hey, Lillian, he goes, you're not going to believe this, but I have 0 symptoms. All of my symptoms are gone. High fever, because he had horrible high fever. He had really bad body chills, body aches. He had no stamina. He felt like a truck hit him. He was in really bad shape. And he says, I have 0, not some of the symptoms went away. He says, I have none of the symptoms. My energy's back. I feel great. And so I was, to be honest with you, because it was so fast, I was kind of confused. So I just looked at the clock and I said, it's only been 2 hours and 18 minutes. And so I began to question him. I go, Al, did you drink your water at 8 o'clock like I told you to? Because I had seen him at 4 o'clock, 4 hours before. And then I tested his polarity, because everyone that we start on the patches, I like to make sure that their energy is moving in the right direction. We tested his polarity, his energy was stuck. So then we got it moving in the right direction. I had given him 2 bottles of water to drink at that moment. And then I gave him 2 other bottles of water to drink at 8 o'clock. So he drank 1 at 8 and 1 at 9. And then when we tested his body said to start at 8. So that's why we started it at 8. And I said, so did you drink your bottle of water at 8? He said, yes. And then I said, did you apply the patches at exactly 8 o'clock? He said, yes. He goes, then at 9, I drank another bottle of water. And he goes, just right now, I'm like, I feel fantastic. I got to call Lillian. And so he did. So the rest is history. So that's very exciting, because it shows a possibility for people who are suffering from this or any kind of flu-like symptoms, rhinovirus, adenovirus, any kind of things like that. Again, we're not making any medical claims, but if you're having flu-like symptoms, you're not feeling your best, this could possibly help you feel better. Next, we have Kathy McCarthy. She suffered for 33 years from 3 breast implants that gave her an autoimmune disorder. Again, we're not making medical claims. I'm just telling you the story of Kathy. This is a gal who lives in Nevada, who's a professional skydiver. In January 2022, when she started on the patches, we told her, take a picture before and then every 30 days so that you can document your progress. She didn't get on the patches for the wrinkles, but she knew that there was a regenerative process, although she didn't really think that she called them little Band-Aids. She goes, how could these little Band-Aids do anything? This is kind of a waste of time. And lo and behold, she did put the patches on, not just on herself. She also put it on her pet, which if you want to watch the video on my YouTube channel, you will see the little surprise that she reveals there. January, she started on the patches. You'll see here in March how you see a significant improvement on the skin texture of her neck and her chest. 6 months later in June, she's 63, still in this picture. And by July, all of her wrinkles were gone. And in fact, her husband was the first one to note. He's like, he saw her torso and her arms. And he said, hey, hun, look at your torso, look at your arms. Your crepey skin is gone. You don't have that any longer. And at the time, when she shared these 4 pictures on her Facebook, I went ahead and I shared this. She would not take her profile picture, which seems crazy to me because she was beautiful before, but she was even more beautiful after because she was rejuvenated, right? And so in October, she came on, she did a YouTube video, Zoom. We shared her whole story, pretty incredible story. And after that Zoom, she decided, okay, she gave in and she's like, okay, I'll give you a profile picture. And so that's why we have this picture of her. And this is what she looks like now. She looks like this in person. It's really quite remarkable. It's really exciting to see what the possibilities are. This is my story. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this because there's a good number of YouTube channels that have interviewed me and other podcasts that they've interviewed me. And in fact, I put this together because they asked me for a before and after picture, and they wanted a laundry list of all the things that I had wrong with me when I got hit by a bus just 3 blocks shy of completing a 16-mile bike ride back in 2017. And it wasn't until I put these pictures together that I even realized, because I had no idea that I had crow's feet and that I had hooded eyelids. In fact, I didn't even know what hooded eyelids were because I would sometimes see YouTube videos that would mention that. And I'm like, that doesn't apply to me. I was in ignorance. I was unaware of the fact that I had hooded eyelids, because I don't have them anymore. As I took this picture side by side in the same lighting, wearing the same shirt, you can see that the crow's feet that I have smile lines here, they're gone. You can see in this video too. And you can see that the hooded eyelids, you can see more of my eyelid now because that tissue has actually shrunk. Now I'm looking at myself in the mirror every day. I can honestly say I didn't notice that. It wasn't until I put these pictures side by side. So I won't bore you with all the things that I had that were wrong, but I did have a traumatic brain injury upon impact, had brain damage. I had a neck injury, a back injury, and I had a laceration, real nasty laceration from my ankle to my knee that was right on my shin bone. It affected the integrity of the shin bone because when that went to heal, that shin bone, instead of being nice and smooth, which is how it normally would be, it was kind of wiggly. And then I had a scar that was raised and it was purple. And that took over a year to heal because your whole neurochemistry is way off, right? So, and I also had no short-term memory. So I'm proud to say that, being on the patches was a big help. I had gotten because I'm a poly-certified clinical neurosomatic practitioner, I did work very hard using a lot of different neurosomatic methods to regain my short-term memory back. But the first 2 years after I had this accident, I was unaware that I even had short-term memory loss. Although my daughter, who lived with me, was very, very aware of it and very concerned because she thought maybe I had dementia or early onset Alzheimer because I couldn't remember. I had no recognition that something had happened 15 minutes before or earlier that morning. And now she's seeing me in the evening and she would call something to my attention. I said, what are you talking about? I haven't even seen you since, last night, or in fact, I haven't seen you for a couple of nights. And she'd look at me perplexed. And luckily I was able to turn that around. But I really saw a quantum leap in my memory the 3rd to 4th week of being on the patches. And I know for some of you guys who've been on the patches here, you've had the same experience. I've had people who I've patched, who we put patches on them for pain. And in 24 hours, they're like, oh my gosh, not only is my pain gone and my energy is up, but I had no idea I had brain fog. Everything is so much brighter, clearer. My eyes can focus. I didn't even realize that my eyes were not focusing that well and that things were kind of just foggy. Things are just clearer. And it's like my mental clarity just in 24 hours. I am not saying that will happen for you. I'm just saying that some people have had that experience. It's happened to enough people that it warrants my bringing that up. For some people, it all depends what you've got going on in your body. For some people, it may take 2 or 3 weeks. It may take 2-3 months. Maybe it'll take a year or two. I don't know. because everybody's different depending on what you got going on in your body. But it's not uncommon for people to be unaware that they had brain fog. Now, all of a sudden, they're like, wow. And your memories that you have from 20, 30, 40 years ago of childhood will oftentimes come back where you're like, wow, I remember this, this, and that. And I remember thinking and feeling this where they hadn't had that for 20, 30 years. So it's a very exciting thing. Moving on. So let's talk about the mother stem cell activation patch. We talked about how your body is your temporary housing unit. So we're going to think of the mother stem cell activation patch as the foundation of your home, of your body. And this is going to reset a third of your genes to a younger, healthier state, regenerate cells by replacing damaged cells and damaged tissue. It's going to restore the collagen, which is a building block protein for all tissues, for all skin, for all muscles. It's going to rebuild scar tissue by replacing those damaged cells and replacing it with the original tissue, which is why, like on my leg, if you were to look at my leg, Dr. Stacy, when she saw it just in October, the 12th to the 14th, when we were at convention for the North American Global Stem Cell Conference that Lifeway puts on, she said, girl, she goes, you can't even see anything because my scar went from purple. The first thing I noticed was that the bone filled in. In 4 months, the bone filled in. And then almost right away, I don't know in how many days, but the scar went flat. And then the purple color went away, and then it was brown. And then from brown, it went to a very light tan. And then from a light tan, instead of it being a continuous line, now in the middle, it's like regular tissue, and it's just almost like a dash of light brown, regular colored tissue, and it's maybe 3 inches at most. I should probably measure it to know exactly, but it's almost gone. It's been about 1.5 years now. So next June, it'll be 2 years. So I don't know if it'll take 2 years. Doesn't matter. I'm going to continue to wear the patches till it's completely gone. Does that make sense? So this reduces fine lines and wrinkles. As you can see, my crow's feet went away and I don't have hooded eyelids anymore. Thank goodness. Increased energy. You get increased sexual libido, antioxidants, anti-aging, and anti-inflammation. You get pain relief. A lot of people experience pain relief. In 3 to 4 minutes, their pain will drop 50 to 100%, which is extraordinary. A lot of people have improved hair growth, like myself. My point of impact was the back of my head, my behind, and I had a bald spot the size of my hand on the lower left of my head, which is where I was hit. And that was completely shiny, where I did not have a single hair follicle after 5 years after my accident. And now it's 70% or more filled, and I got improved hair growth throughout. And in the first 4 months, I noticed that my hair was softer, silkier, smoother. The dry, brittle, coarse texture went away. And even my daughter noticed about the same time that I did. And I was really impressed that she would notice, but she said, oh yeah, she walked around in circles, running her hands through my hair. And she's like, yeah. Since then, I've had people who have been watching me on YouTube for several years who said, yeah, we noticed that your hair got silkier and smoother, which I'm surprised that they could tell on video, but they said, oh yeah. And we could tell that you've rejuvenated. Like you could tell, and they're like, oh yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. We have a Veritas Consilium, which is a true plan of action using traditional Chinese medicine acupuncture points to actually magnify the effects of the patches on the body. Thing to note is the patches work anywhere on your body, head to toe, on your hair, the bottom of your feet, on your neck, on your spine, on your hand, on your foot, over your foot, under your foot, the side of your foot, doesn't matter, on your arms. It works throughout your entire body. We do have acupuncture points that can magnify the effects. And if you have pain in the body, I always say the best rule of thumb for everyone is if you have pain anywhere in the body, you're going to want to take the Fantastic 5 patches, and you're going to want to either put those patches in a row on that area of pain, or you're going to want to take the patches. You can connect them like this, which is called kissing patches, and put them in that area of pain. Let's say if it's your wrist that hurts, you could simply attach the patches like that, and it'll be almost like a bracelet. Same thing, if it's on your knee, you could put it along the side of the knee or around the front, above or below the knee. Or you can take the patches and individually circle it around that pain point wherever you might have it in the body. If you have congestion, if you have any kind of a heart issue, you might want to put those patches on your chest or right over your heart. So that's a general rule of thumb that works very, very well. I'm willing to do a patch placement call with anyone that I get started on the patches, or anyone who's on my team that we get started on the patches, whether you're a doctor, a brand partner, or anyone who's already started on the patches that has someone who is getting started as well. But make sure you get back to the person who referred you to this video, and they will be able to help you, or have someone on their team that will be able to help you with the same. Does that make sense? Okay, so the next, we got the foundation. So now we're going to put the bearing wall. The daughter stem cell activation patch, this says something totally different. This is going to give you radiation poisoning relief. It's going to increase your lean muscle mass. Think about that. Great for people who want to anti-age or want to reverse age, people who are into performance, like sports performance of any form, who are into working out and so forth, or someone who has some sort of chronic inflammatory condition or symptoms that they're trying to reverse. Fantastic patch, because it will protect you against radiation poisoning, and it's going to give you increased lean muscle mass, increased bone density, muscle mass and strength, increased energy, focus, and cardiovascular function. It's going to protect you against electromagnetic frequencies from 5G, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi radiation, TSA scanners, laptops, desktops, cell phones, iPads, notebooks, LED lights in your home environment, in your work environment, in your car all is LED lights. Planes, trains, submarines all have LED lights. It's hard to get away from LED lights nowadays. The truth of the matter is that LED lights cause blue light toxicity. That causes inflammation. It causes insulin resistance and increases cellular damage, which causes inflammation in the body. This patch, it's the only thing I know that will really effectively offset that, because you're signaling it for 12 hours a day. Most things, if you take something orally or whatnot, it's kind of momentary, 30 minutes for you to ingest it, and then another 30 minutes to 3 hours for you to digest it and metabolize it, depending on how well your microbiome is functioning. If you have balanced microbiome, then you can digest, absorb it at a cellular level and methylate it. And if you don't, then you just pee it out and it doesn't do you any good at all, and you don't get the relief that you're looking for in terms of reducing inflammation. So this doesn't have to go through your digestive system. It's simply signaling 4 inches deep into your skin to activate AHKCU copper peptide, which I just remembered the FDA no longer allows us to say, but that in fact is what it does. So I won't say that anymore. And this also will reduce your belly fat, because it's going to use that as an immediate source of energy. And it's going to reduce osteoporosis, because as it increases your bone density, your osteoporosis will disappear, because osteoporosis is not a sickness or an illness. It's a condition. It's actually a state of being. All mammals have their bones lose density as they age. It's a natural progression and function of aging. So as you age, your bones become more porous. Osteoporosis is just a descriptor. Osteo is bone in Latin. Porosis is porous. So it's saying bone porous. So as your bone density increases, your bone porosity decreases. It'll disappear. Stem cell activation. Now we're going to talk about Y-Age, which is the Y-Age system. These are 3 patches. We do have the Y-Age system, and these 3 master antioxidants are glutathione, carnosine, and eon. So you see the foundation, the bearing wall, and now we're going to have the next 3 patches, which are going to serve as the next 3 walls for your temporary housing unit called a body. So the first one is glutathione. And oh, by the way, you got to remember to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. Say yes. Okay, glutathione, master antioxidant. This is a detoxifier. Glutathione is so incredibly important. It's important for brain health. It's important to detoxify your body. Glutathione, your brain signals your liver to manufacture glutathione. Then your liver sends it through your blood to every single organ and every single muscle in the body. It's important. One of the most important master antioxidants for you to have in your brain is glutathione, because you need it for brain function. You need it for eye health. You need it to promote relaxation and reducing stress. It's a radioprotector against DNA damage. It improves your skin appearance because, again, it's in all the tissues of your body. Every organ system, every muscle has glutathione. If you have a deficiency in this, then you're going to have symptoms, of course. Within 24 hours, let's say that you got started today on the patches, and let's just suppose that you started at 9 a.m., you applied the patch, and you wore it till 9 p.m., take off the patch, you discard it. The next morning at 9 a.m., you go to put your patches on, and if we were to take a measurement on you of your glutathione levels, we would witness that your glutathione levels have increased anywhere from 300 to as high as 600%, all based on the original blueprint from where you were conceived in your mother's womb. Without the glutathione patch, just this patch will increase your glutathione levels by 30%. But the moment you add the glutathione patch, if your original blueprint when you were younger showed that your glutathione levels have to increase 555% for you to be more of who you truly are, then it'll increase it to 555%. If your original playbook and blueprint says that it needs to be 333%, then it'll go up to 333%. Whatever is your original playbook. So this is one of the few times in your life that you get to unring the bell and get a legitimate do-over so that you can be more of who you truly are, because we're literally turning you on when you have 33% more of your own dormant pluripotent cells that are on. That's more of you that's on. That's not going to interact negatively with anything that you eat or that you drink, anything that you inject, any supplements or any treatments or any protocols or any other therapies that you might have, because it's your own DNA. It's you. It's just more of you is on. Okay. Moving on. So this is a quote from a research paper on glutathione patches, which I thought was phenomenal. And I want you to pay close attention. If you have any organ that you're having an issue with, you're having symptoms with that organ, or if you have any condition which involves any of these organs, I want you to pay close attention to this, because this is the nanoscale glutathione patches improve organ function research paper. And I'll show you at the end where you can look at all 90 clinical studies, including this paper. And this particular quote says that the glutathione patches worn 12 hours daily over a period of 4 weeks produced a highly significant improvement in physiologic functional status of the pancreas, liver, gallbladder, intestines, left and right adrenals, hypothalamus, and pituitary gland, and a very significant improvement in the pancreas with a statistical power of at least 72%. So stated differently, all organs achieved a significant cellular physiologic functional status improvement compared to a baseline with a statistical power of at least 91%. Pretty impressive, if you ask me. So now we're moving on to carnosine. So carnosine, this patch is a master antioxidant, and this one supports and improves your cardiovascular system. It's helping your pump, all things related to heart and muscle, and it improves your healthy brain function, memory, focus, and brain processing time. You better bet your bottom dollar. I wear all these 5 patches, and actually I also wear energy enhancer, which you can see here, and also something called the SP6 patch, which I'll probably talk about at the end here. But this patch is going to help you with memory, focus, and brain processing speed, as well as helping your cardiovascular system. This helps with your strength, your stamina, and your endurance. Athletes love these. And it detoxes your brain from aluminum and aids in wound restoration. So some of you see, detoxes your brain from aluminum. I don't really need that. I don't have aluminum toxicity. Maybe not. So I want you to think about the fact that up until 2014, all toothpaste in the United States was placed in an aluminum tube. That toothpaste is then absorbing aluminum from that aluminum tube. And from the time you started brushing your teeth up until 2014, which in 2014, the significance of that year is that Tom's Toothpaste, the maker of an organic toothpaste, had the clamoring of their customers said, how do you have organic toothpaste in an aluminum tube? When we've known that Aluminum is a known neurotoxin for the last 30 years. That causes cognitive decline. It causes brain fog. It causes, it causes Alzheimer's. You know, Alzheimer's shows up as like kind of like a bunch of thread that's all knotted up into a wad in the brain. It's kind of nasty. They're like, you got to put it in a different type of container. So Tom's toothpaste was the first one who said, oh my gosh, yes, yes. They were the first ones to move to recyclable plastic containers. And then all the other toothpaste manufacturers followed suit, organic or not. That's just one source. Just think about it. That toothpaste, you now didn't have to eat it. You now you brush your teeth, your gums are absorbing that toothpaste and the aluminum. And guess what? It's going directly into your brain, which is like just a few inches away. Ay, ay, ay. Not too good. No bueno. Think about how many baked potatoes have you wrapped in aluminum foil? How many times have you had chicken, turkey, ham, any kind of meat for that, corn on the cob, vegetables? How many times did you wrap it in aluminum foil, cook it? Now that aluminum foil, it's being absorbed into that food. How many times have you had take home that you brought home in an aluminum container with an aluminum covering? How many pies did you eat that were made in a aluminum pie tin? How many Coca-Colas, juices, waters, beers have you drunk out of an aluminum can? I could go on and on, not to mention the environmentals where you could be in a work environment. Maybe you work for a gun manufacturer, a car manufacturer, an aluminum awning manufacturer. Maybe you work at a place like Home Depot. Maybe you work at, and I'm not saying that Home Depot is riddled with aluminum, but you do have a lot of metal shavings amongst other things, you know, in an environment like that. So you may be in a work environment where you're also absorbing through your skin and through inhalation, through breathing it in. Guess what? This patch is going to detox you from that. You're going to feel an incredible amount of relief as you move forward wearing these patches over the next 12 months, signaling your body for 12 hours, and then you remove them. And now you have 12 hours of rest, repair, and restore. And oh, by the way, yes, your third reminder to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. The last of the Fantastic Five, we have 11 patches. So that's not all the patches. I have just grouped the 5 patches into the Fantastic Five because they take care of the primary systems of the body. Okay. The next master antioxidant is a master anti-inflammatory patch called the Eon patch. We call this our anti-stress happy patch. This patch raises anti-neoplasms, which you had in your original blueprint at conception. I'll tell you what those are in just a moment. This patch increases the DHEA fountain of youth hormone, not to be confused with DHA. This increases DHEA, the fountain of youth hormone. This patch, I love it. And at nighttime, it's really hard to see this brain here. But your brain may be out of balance before you start on the patches. And the moment you put this patch on, immediately the patches go to work and your pluripotent cells want to bring your brain into homeostasis, into left hemisphere and right hemisphere brain balance. And every day that you wear the patches, you get more and more balance until one day you're like, oh my gosh, everything is so much brighter, clear. You will notice, you may not have a feeling, but you may all of a sudden be aware, oh my gosh, I learned, I remembered, I memorized that without putting any effort. It was just instant. I just thought, oh, I want to remember that. And the next thing you know, you did. And that's kind of what happened to me in the 3rd or 4th week of wearing the patches. Now, bear in mind that centralized medicine tells you that once you have brain damage, that's it. Once you damage the brain, there's no repairing it, which we know is not true. But that's what centralized medicine will tell you is like, yeah, once you damage the brain, there's no way to unring that bell, even though we now know that, you know, I worked on a film documentary where we actually revealed that, HBOT, hyperbaric oxygen therapy does help, in fact, repair the brain. And so, and also there's certain supplementation that's designed for brain health that will also, in about a year and a half's time, will help you restore all sorts of cognitive decline. It'll help repair the brain. And I've seen brains that over a 10-year period where there are parts of the brain were missing from multiple concussions and from many TBIs, repetitively been hit on that brain and entire portions of the brain missing. And it took 10 years but a lot of the brain grew back over a 10-year period. Now I've had people on the patches who in less than a year, much less than a year, but I always tell them you want to give it at least a year. All of their TBI symptoms have disappeared as a direct result of wearing these patches. So it's really quite exciting. This Eon patch, again, no medical claims. I'm just telling you some of the things that I've witnessed and we've experienced and that I personally experienced. In addition to this brain balancing, you also have a calming effect because this patch, the Eon patch, when you are in a fight or flight response and you have PTSD and anxiety, you're having that type of stressor, your adrenals produce cortisol to give you that added energy so that you could respond in that moment. Problem is that a lot of people, especially during the last 3 years, under the circumstances that our entire globe has experienced, a lot of people have been stuck in that PTSD anxiety loop where their adrenals are still firing and firing. So you have high levels of cortisol, which is really not good, which creates high C-reactive proteins in your blood. And it's really exhausting and it really, really starts to break down the body. This patch is going to help reduce the cortisol levels and reduce the C-reactive proteins, providing you an energized but calm feeling in the body. And your brain literally gets balanced. And we have, again, clinical studies to show those results. And quite a few people have had brain scans to evidence that as well. So what are anti-neoplastins? So these are peptides, and the research studies show that they're peptides that are found in the urine and blood of healthy people. And the research studies show that they might stimulate your immune system. And the peptides might also kill certain cancer cells or prevent them from proliferating and growing. So the thing to note is I want you to be aware of the fact that your original blueprint had the appropriate amount of anti-neoplastins so that anytime you are exposed to any kind of environmental that would cause certain cancer cells to grow and to proliferate in your body, the anti-neoplastins would offset that. And so now by applying these patches, you have your natural peptides of anti-neoplastins that will, as they increase, they're going to help balance and bring things back into order so that your body is in a younger, healthier state. In a clinical setting, this is used for various types of cancers, high cholesterol, brain swelling due to any kind of infection like encephalitis, meningitis, HIV/AIDS, Parkinson's disease, and there's an infinitude of other conditions. And it's administered through something called IVIG, which is intravenous immunoglobulin therapy, always done either in a hospital or in a clinic. And recently, in the last year or two now, they've got a mobile device that for some people with certain conditions, you can actually take it home. Anyhow, so did you know, oh, by the way, did you know that blue light, like the blue light that you're getting from your computer screen, from your cell phone, iPad, notepad, desktop, laptop, LED lights in your home, your work, car, train, plane, submarine, boats even, just your kitchen alone, think about it. You have your refrigerator, your coffee pot, cappuccino maker, electric pot for hot water, your stove, your microwave, all those have LED lights, and that causes blue light toxicity. Did you know that that destroys your DHEA, fountain of youth hormone? That causes inflammation in the body and increases insulin resistance. That causes inside your cell, you have these little organelles called mitochondria. Those get all dysregulated, and our mitochondria are responsible for providing energy. It creates something called ATP, which is our energy provider to fuel our body. And so that's the beginning of all chronic inflammatory conditions. So how much does this cost? Well, obviously we can't charge you $1 million, although plenty of people would pay more than $1 million to get their health back. If you don't have your health, what can you do? It's a tremendous time, money, and energy suck when you don't have good health. Traditional stem cell therapies are not allowed in the United States any longer. However, we also know that when they are available overseas, in addition to having to fly, accommodations, and everything else that goes along with travel, the therapies are anywhere from $8,000 to $11,000 per session. Our very own Dr. Stacy spent $125,000 for her daughter, Taylor, and did not see a whole lot of results when she had stem cell therapy by IV or by injection. It was, I believe, through IV. And once she put her on stem cell activation patches, these photobiomodulation patches, for the first time ever, Taylor became verbal. She was actually able to speak. Her eyes were more open. As her spine started to straighten out, her posture was better. All sorts of things. In fact, if you watch the 5 o'clock, the most recent video that is up on Dr. Stacy Hollweger, that's STACI Hollweger, HOLWEGGER. I'll put it in the comments for this video later on. But if you look at the most recent video, she did the first of a 4-week series starting today with Dr. Dawn Verhulst on brain health. And she showed pictures of Taylor in the before and after, and you could see a significant change. And you see Dr. Dawn, because he's a brain specialist, he went through and even brought things to her attention that she hadn't even noticed that were improvements in Taylor. Really quite remarkable. So let's talk about these Dr. Wholesale packs. And it's good to note that this is very affordable. You can get started for as little as $5 a day. So 5 times 30, that's $149. That's what just the mother stem cell activation patch retail. You can go to my site, you can go to anybody's site that you have their link for, and this is $149 for this. For these two, it's $149 each. That's $300 a month. It's the price of a cup of coffee a day. If you're doing both of these, then that's 2 coffees a day. But guess what? You can get started on the Fantastic 5. You can get all 3 of these, including glutathione, carnosine, and Eon, where you're doing the Fantastic 5. And we can bring the price down because we can get you started on one of our Dr. Wholesale packs. That's not available on the site. You need to get back to the person who referred you to this video in order to do that, because then we need to fill out this Dr. Wholesale form. We get your personal information, your payment method, and the gold pack. That's 5 sleeves. It retails on our site for $750. You can go there, but then you're obligated, if you use our link, you're obligated for a 6-month auto ship, and you don't get any free sleeves. When we fill this out on our back end and we fill out this form and then input it to our back office, we get you a Dr. Wholesale pack. There's no obligation for you to do anything. The benefit to you is that instead of 5 of these, the company will bonus you 3 more. So you're able to get the 3 additional patches. You get the Fantastic 5, and then you could get the SP6, which is our patch that has to do with regulating your autonomic nervous system, all things related to hormones and digestion. That's this particular patch, which I got on because of my traumatic brain injury. I needed to regulate my autonomic nervous system. You can also get the energy enhancer patches. This is a 2-week supply because all of these are called sleeves. An envelope is a sleeve, and a sleeve is a special envelope that's made out of a special cardboard to protect the transport of the patches to you. And there's 30 patches in each one of these. There's 30 patches in the energy enhancer, but because it's a 2-patch system, this is just a 2-week supply. So you need 2 of these sleeves to make up 1 month. When we start you on this gold pack, your bonus sleeves, you could pick an SP6 having to do with neurological, digestive, and hormonal function. And you can get 2 of these, which gives you a total of 8. Every now and then, depending on what the volume is going through our group, we might be able to get an extra one, but everybody for sure will get at least 8 on the gold pack. So you get 3. That's like $300 of free product for $4.99. It's just the first month that's $4.99. After that, it goes for the Fantastic 5 alone, the 5 sleeves would be $329 a month. Okay. If you're willing to buy 3 months in advance, so 3 times 5, that's basically $100 a sleeve, not counting the free bonus sleeves. Then that's $100 a sleeve. If you're willing to do 3 months in advance, 3 times 5 is 15. So $15.99, that's 3 months worth of the Fantastic 5, but they're going to bonus you 2 months of the Fantastic 5. So you get 5 months. It says 19 sleeves here, but you end up with like 25, 26 sleeves, sometimes 27 sleeves when you get the diamond pack right now. Again, you have to get back to the person who referred you to this video, and they'll get you set up in this fashion. I don't know if anybody else has any other questions, but I want to make sure that you can learn more, and you can read all 90 clinical studies or look for the one that I mentioned about glutathione, or you can have your doctor review this information with you in addition to this video. You can go to startx39now.com. You'll see a 2-minute video, a 3-minute video, and an 18-minute video by David Schmidt, the scientist himself, explaining who, what, how the patches work. And you can also see the links for the 90 clinical studies and the 120 patents. And then you'll see some testimonials on there as well. These are stem cell activation patches. Actually, I'm going to change this here in real time right here, because we're not supposed to say this. The FDA doesn't want us to call this anymore. So I'm going to put here, Photobiomodulation activation patches. If you're interested in getting the to get started text, every now and then we have busy doctors, busy holistic care practitioners, busy moms, busy people who have already researched, done, they know that they want to get started on the patches. They simply don't have time to get on a phone call, don't have time to get on a Zoom. They know that they want to get started. They have enough information to make a decision. Yeah, I want to go ahead and get started yesterday. So then you can just text this number. This is old school. This is not connected to a system. So have patience, give you at least 24 hours to read your message and then text you the to get started text. The to get started text is just this in text form where I ask you for your name, first name, last name, date of birth, etc. These are the fields that need to be filled out on this form. So the to get started text is simply going to ask you that in text form. And as soon as you text that to myself or to the person who referred you to this video, then they can get you started and they can arrange a time to get on a Zoom to further whatever questions you might have based on your conditions. Okay. If you want to take a look at this video or share this with a friend or family member or someone that you think that might be interested, you can go to my YouTube channel. I have the URL damelillianwalker.com that points to my YouTube channel, which is called Love and Money Secrets TV. And it has lots of education. I go over clinical studies for each one of the Fantastic 5 patches. There's stories of transformations, lots of testimonials, interviews with people like Dr. Harmon, etc. As a little recap, just to give you a little visual as to what the mother stem cell activation patch is. Just wanted to share that with you. I want to, again, remind you again to get back to the person who referred you to this broadcast to get your questions answered or to get started. And I want to thank you for taking your time and attention today. If anybody has any questions, I want to open this up for questions. What questions might you have that I might be able to answer for you?
Hi, Lillian.
Hi.
One of the questions that has come up is with the ice wave, what is, how long can that be on?
12 hours. That's a fantastic question. So the ice wave patch, all the patches are designed to be worn 12 hours on, 12 hours off. So it doesn't matter daytime or nighttime. So let's say you just ran into a coffee table and you hit your shin and you're like, oh man, this really hurts and it's really starting to swell and it's just causing you a great deal of pain. You can go ahead, put the tan one on take the tan patch and point to where you feel the pain on that shin, let's say it's your left leg. So put that on there. And then you would take the white patch and you would mirror reflect that on your right shin. There's more than one way to apply the ice wave patches, but the mirror method is the most common one, and it works usually for most people. We also have something called the clock method where you could take the tan patch and you apply it to, let's say it's your wrist that hurts because you twisted your wrist, you were carrying luggage and you torqued your wrist or your elbow. So now you would point to where you feel the pain. And then you would take the white patch and you would do 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock position. What you're going to do is you're going to test. You put the white patch on top, give it 30 seconds to a minute or two, and see where they notice a change. If after a minute or two, it still hurts, then you go to the 3 o'clock position. Still no change. 6 o'clock. Oh, wait a minute. I feel tingling, or I feel cold, or I feel warm. You feel some sort of change, then that's where you're going to put the white patch. So, and if after doing that, you still notice there's no change in all the clock position methods, 12, 3, 6, and 9, then you switch the patches around. You put the white patch, and then the tan patch you circulate to 12, 3, 6, and 9. One of those positions, the person's going to notice a change. Some people feel electricity running up and down the arm, or they feel tingling, or they feel hot, or they feel something. Some people just feel all of a sudden the absence of pain. So you put it there, and usually within a very short time, their pain is gone. Headaches. My favorite thing to do with headaches is you put it on the left and the right temple. You put a tan and a white patch on the temple, and mother stem cell activation patch, the 39 on the neck bump. And usually within 30 seconds, no more than 2 minutes, every single people with migraines, headaches, I've had so many of them go, oh my gosh, can this really work this fast? It's like, I have zero pain. I'm like, yep, it works that fast. They're like, this is incredible. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So you can wear them for 12 hours from the time you apply them. Then you just set an alarm to remove it 12 hours later. If you put them on, let's say at, I don't know, 7 o'clock at night, and you're not going to be up at 7 in the morning, it's okay to take them off when you get up at 8 or 9. That's not going to make that much of a difference, but really you should be honoring the 12 hours on and then 12 hours off. Does that answer your question, Dan?
Yeah, it did. However, so I haven't had personal experience with the ice wave. I know a few other people that are using them.
Oh, you
Could you
froze.
tell me about the two different ones, the tan one and the white one?
Okay, so yeah, so the ice wave and energy enhancer, these are the only two that are a 2-patch system. Everything else is just one white patch. Okay.
Ah,
So these are a 2-patch system. So they run on a polarity of negative and positive. So one pulls the energy, the other one pushes energy. So you're moving energy through the body. In the case of energy enhancer, to enhance energy, as we talked about before. And in the ice wave case, this is the only patch that we have that does not repair anything. It simply turns off pain receptors, so that while the mother and daughter stem cell activation patch are repairing and restoring and regenerating cells, this one turns off the pain receptors so that you feel comfortable. So that's what this patch does.
okay. I know more now than I did before.
Can I talk, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I think the reason he was asking those questions is, I have, what? Sorry. I had a stroke, but also I've had a lot of pain. And I always in my, I just don't, I can't get energy. And although I've been on the 39 and the 49, I've been putting them on my chest, and I still was not getting any energy. I stuck one of the ice waves on too, and it's helped a lot.
What did she say when she put ice wave on?
It helped.
That helped a lot. Could you hear all of that?
Yeah. I could hear everything, but yeah, I could hear everything, and then it cut out. So I'm like, okay, so she felt that ice wave really helped her then increase her energy.
Yeah, so basically patches all on the sternum, and she added the ice wave and felt a difference for sure.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah. So you may have pain that you may be so used to the pain that it doesn't feel like pain anymore. You just feel that that's like your normal self. So because pain takes energy from the body. When you have pain, because that automatically, when the body's feeling pain, that increases your cortisol levels. So if we can turn off your pain receptors, then your cortisol levels will drop. So that's probably why you're feeling better when that's taking place. So the other thing is, I think when I hear somebody tell me that they started on the patches and it's been couple weeks, anything over a couple weeks and they still feel low energy, then I look for patch placement. I would use either ice wave or energy enhancer to move the energy. But before I even do that, I would also do the polarity test and reset, which I think I gave to you guys already, but if not, I can give to you. The polarity test and reset simply makes sure that your energy is not slow, stuck, or sluggish, or reversed, because sometimes
Right.
Your brain is supposed to send down your cerebral spinal fluid, which has energy and an electrical current that comes down through your cerebral spinal fluid through the particles of salts and crystals and so forth that you have in your spinal cord. And as that cerebral spinal fluid it's called CSF, comes down your spinal cord. Your energy is supposed to go down your back and up the front. And it takes about 24, 25, closer to 25 hours for your brain to send that down and come back up. And it's supposed to go down your spine and up the front. Some people have it reversed,
Right.
which means that instead of having a positive charge at the brain and a negative charge at the base of your spine, you actually have a negative charge of the brain and a positive charge at the base of your spine. It's backwards.
That could be mine.
Yeah. And many people
we-
who
we-
have strokes and neurological conditions, that's the case. It's backwards or it's stuck where the energy is not moving forward or backward. Or in some people's cases, it's moving, it's so slow and sluggish that it's impeding things, because instead of you having 2 cycles of cerebral spinal fluid, encircling your system in a 25-hour period, it's barely even doing 1, which is going to really make you feel lethargic.
Yeah, that had been the case with Carolyn within the last couple of years. I think things are flowing in the right direction right now, but I'm probably going to have to review that test and give that another go.
Yeah. I would encourage you to do that. It's so easy. I've had 6, 7-year-olds. I have some kids that have, they're on the spectrum. They have autism spectrum disorder, and their mothers have them do it every morning as part of their morning routine because most people and children who are on the autism spectrum, their energy is either stuck or reversed. And so by doing that every morning, it's a nice little wake up routine, but it's making sure that the energy is moving in the right direction. As an adult, you don't have to do it every day. The patches in due time will reverse your energy, but it takes time. Whereas as soon as you do the polarity test and reset that same day, when you're done doing that, your polarity is moving in the right direction. It's done.
Okay, I did not know that. I didn't know any of that. So I'm looking forward to trying it.
Oh, it
And
stopped.
so every day I wake up exhausted. So what happened the other day, I just put the ice wave on my chest, above the 39 and 49. I put it above it, and it started to change. It was later in the day. I don't know how long it took, but it started to change. And since then, I've had more energy, not as much as I want, but certainly better than what it was.
So you might want to experiment, Carolyn, with, I like the placement that you put. It makes sense to me. You might also want to experiment with taking Ice Wave and taking the tan colored patch and putting it on anywhere on your spine, and then the white patch on the front, so that you're bracketing the front and the back of the spine.
Okay.
And before you secure it there, I would take just half of the adhesive off on each side. So you just temporarily put it there and give yourself 2, 3, 4 minutes and just see how it feels. If that feels really good to you, then you know to put it there. And then you take off the other half, and so you secure it there. If you're not sure, then switch it around. Put the tan one in front and the white one on the back of the spine, so it's bracketing you, so that if we were to draw a string from the tan patch to the white patch or vice versa, it would be a straight line from front to back. So you want to put it at the same level on both sides of the spines, on the front and back of the body. It's like a bracket.
Okay.
And then test that and see how that feels. If you're like, whoa, I wasn't sure about the other way, but this feels fantastic, then you know. Then you know your body's saying, I really like this. So I'm like, take the other half of the adhesive off, and then try wearing that way for the next 30 days. If at any point along the way you kind of feel that you should move it up the spine or down the spine, do it. It can't hurt you. So just honor your own body's intelligence, because your body is speaking to you. And that's what you're doing when you test and you notice the difference in feeling, that one feels better than the other. You're paying attention to what your body's saying. It's like, oh yeah, the movement and energy right here is fantastic. Keep it here.
Are you getting
Okay.
this down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I'm just really excited. I'm not in a place right now to afford to buy patches, which I'd like to do. So what I've been getting is 39 and 49, and then at one
Great.
point, I just tried to isolate because I'm like, God, something's got to give here.
Yeah. I'm glad you got the ice wave because yeah, that does help.
Good.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else have any other questions? I want to share this.
Well, it's just some place to learn more about the acupuncture points and how to figure out the polarities.
Okay.
Okay. I will give you, actually, if you're part of the Telegram group, or I'll see if I can post this in just a second here. I'll put it in the chat and give you a few minutes to copy and paste it. I will, in the Telegram group, the Dame Lillian Stem Cell Activation group, I actually have pinned to that group a website called Yin Yang House. And it's kind of hard to find because if you just go to Yin Yang House, it's kind of buried in their site where you can't find, you know, these are the governing vessels, the conception vessels, and so forth. So what I did was I took all the links and I put it in a text message in the Telegram group so that it's just easy right here. They're all in one place. You can just copy and paste it and save it to your computer, and it's just all in one place. And you don't have to waste a bunch of hours scouring that website. You're like, I know it's in here, but I can't, that for some reason they have it hidden in the site. So, but it shows you all the acupuncture points head to toe, anything you ever wanted to know, they're all there. So I will put that there for you to check. And
What's up right now? The www doctor.
yes.
Okay, that's what I copied down. www.drstacyzoom.com.
Oh, well, to join the Zoom, this Zoom, yeah, you're going to go to Dr. Stacy Zoom.
No.
But this is for her. Yeah, this is the 4-week series. If you want to take a screenshot, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so that you have a great view of it. But this is Dr. Stacy and Dr. Dawn. They're part of our medical group. Dr. Dawn has 40 years of practice of medicine and alternative medicine that he's been doing. Dr. Stacy is a double PhD, integrative medicine and functional medicine. She's the head of our entire group. She has over 45,000 people that she's responsible for getting started on the patches, including myself. And so she started a 4-week series. If you want to join the live Zoom next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern time. You just go to drstacyzoom.com. Come on a little before 5 and 5 p.m. Pacific time, and then you'll be able to watch that. It's an hour live, and it's phenomenal. The recordings are at Dr. Stacy Hallweger YouTube channel. Just go into YouTube, Dr. Stacy Hallweger. That's HOLWEGGER. And
Can you spell that again? That was too fast.
Okay, Dr. Yeah, her Stacy is with an I, STACI, and then Hallweger is HOLWEGGER.
Got it.
Okay. Dr. Stacy Hallweger. And it's a 4-week series. Today was the first day. Next Tuesday will be the second one. And it was phenomenal today. They showed brain scans. It was amazing. I think you'll really, really enjoy that. Let me see if I can pull up on Telegram right now so I can give you the acupuncture points that I have posted on the Telegram group. For people watching this on YouTube, know that there is a Telegram group that I have available for our viewers. If they want to get more information on the patches, they can go there. Let me see if I can find here. I think I need to give me a quick second here. And then we're going to wrap up with this as soon as I share that with you guys.
Yeah, from her. What she was talking about before this,
Yeah, no, that's,
we can find acupuncture.
yeah.
And also, I'll also put here the the polarity test and reset. Whoops. Oh, why did that go away? Oops.
Will you get that for her?
Okay, so I'm going to show you right here. I'll share with you.
What?
Will you get the active?
Okay, so you'll see here in our Telegram group, here you have the polarity test and reset. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste this and share this in the chat so that you can copy it right now. So in the chat, there's the polarity test and reset. And and you can see here, I just put yin because it's yin yang house. And I will copy and paste these and put this in the chat also if you want to copy and paste this as well. By being part of the Telegram group, both on your cell phone and or your desktop is kind of nice because you're not limited to just texting with 2 thumbs. You can actually use your keyboard and it's so much easier to manage on your computer. But you'll have access to all these things because I have a lot of educational resources, a lot of zero cost things that I share with the group that work well in concert like this. This is a modality, the polarity test and reset. That's something that I use with all my private patients and so forth to help get their energy moving in the right direction. A lot of times just setting somebody's polarity in the right direction is enough to get them to sleep well. So it's something very fundamental that you can do. And when I put it together, it was several different modalities that I used to put that together. And I kind of tied it to the nursery school song that we used to sing about head, shoulders, knees, and toes. So I kind of pair it with that head, shoulder, knees, and toes so that it makes it easy for you to remember. So as I got you both things, I promised you the yin yang house, the polarity test and reset. And I think the last thing I'll do is share with you guys on here will be here is the where is it? I'm looking for our group. It's for anyone who finds us on YouTube.
Lost the screen. I can't find it back. I took a screenshot of that thing and I went off into the freaking ozone.
Are you looking for something, Dan?
Yes, I'm out. I'm lost. I'm on white screen with blue Zoom. I went to the chat, did a screenshot of that one thing that you shared, and I can't find my way back.
You can't find your way back? Okay, so
No.
here. Is this what you need? If you click chat, on chat, you'll find the polarity test and reset.
The Zoom.
Yeah, so in your
all I'm seeing is just it's just white with Zoom, and I'm not sure how to get back to where I was.
Take your cursor, and at the bottom of your screen, if you take your cursor and you just click on either on the Zoom link or at the bottom of the screen, you'll have controls that will come up, and then you'll be able to see the chat. You'll see mute, stop, video, security, participants, chat. When you click chat, it'll have the polarity test and reset, and then the acupuncture points that you can copy and paste onto your computer.
Yeah, so I just have crosshairs. I don't have cursor, and I have clicked all over the place with this sucker, and I'm still out in the clouds. And I'm not having as much fun as Carolyn and Cora are.
No, we're not having fun. Well,
Ask
lost it. I
her
lost
what
it.
the thing is that she wants.
This is like an educational thing from Dr. Stacy and this other
Yeah.
doctor. And it's like a part 2 of something that's already started.
It was the,
Next Tuesday at 5.
I know, but
Great.
what you wanted was
I wanted the polarity test and the acupuncture points and that, but we can't get a hold of it right.
Yeah. So I'm just showing here on the, okay. So this, for people on YouTube, they can see that we have this group. These are for people who aren't started on the patches yet, but that just want to inquire, want to get more information. It's called the Stem Cell Activation Patches Info and Support Group. So for those of you who are already started on the patches, of course, you're in the Dame Lillian Stem Cell group. And whoops.
There it is.
there you are.
Wait, hold it. Yep.
Yeah, so you can copy it, and I put it also in the chat here. So if you click on chat, you'll see it here with the hyperlink. So you just copy and paste that. Maybe what I'll do is I will email it to Carol Moulton and Carolyn Bradley and Alan. I don't know if you have any questions, but I'm going to finish up here because it's 8:55. Oh my gosh, this went really long today, but I think we got a lot of information shared with you guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Lillian.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You guys have a great rest of your evening, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the like video because that helps the algorithm through YouTube to share this with more people. Hit the subscribe button so that you get the recordings of the most recent videos that I've uploaded to the channel or the lives that I've done. And subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you'll find out as soon as I have a new video up. And pretty soon I'm going to be uploading the interview that I did with Dr. John Harmon. He just published a book about reverse aging and GHKCU copper peptide, which is phenomenal. So they referenced that book actually in the brain health 4-part series that Dr. Stacy and Dr. Don did tonight. All right, my friends and gems, I will let you go. Ciao for now. Love you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Know how I might help
you.
Ciao.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Bye, Carol. Love you, my
Bye-bye.
friend Jim.